Should you care about Bitcoin? Now, whether you own it or not, I think you actually should care. This is really important stuff for our future. At least, I believe it is. This is Joe Pulizzi, and I'll tell you more in Content Inc. episode 475. First of all, I'm talking about Bitcoin, the financial asset, because I believe it's similar to our discussion about building or not building on rented land when it comes to content entrepreneurs. Hopefully, you'll see the link in this episode. Now, every time Bitcoin goes on a bull run, I get emails from listeners about my thoughts. I'll share some of them now, but please note that I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. Last year, I told you I believed it's important that we have a currency available that is not influenced by any one nation or person. Its rules are set in math. I first learned about Bitcoin in 2016, and I bought my first Bitcoin through Coinbase in 2017 at around $2,600. Now, if you can't get your finances in order, I'd stay away from Bitcoin. That means if you don't have your retirement account set up, and you don't have a long-term investment strategy, I would get the basics down first. For example, get out of debt, get a Roth IRA, and please make sure you have a will. Now, my theory has always been that Bitcoin will have the market capitalization of gold inside 20 years. Now, as of this podcast, let's see where we're at. Bitcoin is around 97,000 a coin, up almost 150% for the year. If you would have put $10,000 in the NASDAQ 100 in 2011, you'd have about $100,000 to show for it. Pretty impressive, right? If you put the same amount in Bitcoin, you'd have $100 million. But if you only focus on the current price and what others have made, you'll be missing the larger point. As I said, Bitcoin is capped at 21 million supply, and there will not be any more made. The last Bitcoin will be mined in 2140. That's the year, 2140. It's the only commodity in the world that is capped. They can dig up more gold, drill more oil, print more dollars, but not Bitcoin. It currently inflates at about 0.8% a year, and that will dip to 0.4% a year starting in 2028. Any person can own Bitcoin, unlike when some people are denied banking accounts. 4.5% of Americans are unbanked. Did you know that? And around the world, there are 1.4 billion people who don't have access to banks. I can send my Bitcoin to anyone, anywhere in the world instantly, without the assistance of a middle entity, and with minimal costs. By the way, try sending a large amount of money to someone through a bank and see how easy it is. Now, to my theory that Bitcoin will hit the market cap of gold in 20 years, gold has been performing actually quite well in the last year, up about 28%, and it now has a market cap of almost $18 trillion. Bitcoin's current market cap is approximately $2 trillion. If gold stays level, Bitcoin would need to reach 900,000 per coin to reach gold's market cap. Now, last year I said this would take about 20 years. I now believe Bitcoin will reach this level in significantly less time. Here's why. Beyond just the value of Bitcoin. First off, the new U.S. administration is bullish on Bitcoin. Their goal is to define clear regulations and create a national Bitcoin reserve. The United States currently holds 207,000 Bitcoin through seizure, and Donald Trump has promised not to sell any of this. And states such as Texas are planning on purchasing Bitcoin as well. In the last 4 years, the United States has printed $1 trillion in additional currency. Every time they turn the money printer on, all the dollars we own become less valuable, especially with the increasing debt load of the U.S. at over $35 trillion. The additional money printing is unlikely to change. This means that the government is literally stealing your buying power by printing more dollars at an average of 7% a year. The inflation of the dollar supply at historical rates means that your wealth is cut in half every 12 years if you hold all your wealth in cash. Oh my gosh. More and more companies are adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. MicroStrategy, MSTR, on the NASDAQ, formerly a business software company, has purchased over 400,000 Bitcoin over the past 4 years. Disclosure, I own the company's stock, and I talked about this in my newsletter back in 2020, which I'll put in the show notes. Companies like Tesla, Block, and dozens more have also added Bitcoin to their balance sheet. The idea here is to put their cash, which is losing value, into something like Bitcoin, which is increasing in value. Every day, more and more companies are announcing that they are adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets. I never in my wildest dreams thought that Bitcoin would be accepted as a universal financial asset so quickly. Almost every major financial institution in the world has a cryptocurrency department, and the new SEC chairperson is a huge proponent of Bitcoin. Unlike the dollar, there's just not enough Bitcoin to go around. We are in the middle of a supply shock. As the U.S. adds to their Bitcoin coffers, so will other countries. And then so will more companies. And so will more individuals. And finally, what I really love about it is Bitcoin's portable. You can take it to Cleveland, to Tokyo, and back on a thumb drive or in your digital wallet. Try that with your gold or your rare paintings. And as for security, Bitcoin itself has never been hacked, and no counterfeit currency has ever entered the network. It's truly the easiest long-term asset strategy ever. I believe if you buy Bitcoin, you don't sell it, you just have to be patient. Think of it like buying property in Manhattan 100 years ago. It will be very volatile. I believe this is a good thing. It shows that it's still young and growing, so lots of opportunity left. If this bothers you, please don't look at the price every day. I believe, again, not financial advice, but I believe everyone should put at least 2% of their assets in Bitcoin. Our family owns a bit more than that. If you're young, a larger portion would be a very good idea. This is Joe Pulizzi. Remember, success comes from creating thoughtful content consistently over time. Keep creating, keep connecting, and I'll see you next week on the Content Inc. podcast.